right. Well, with that, it's my pleasure to welcome you to the 18th International Conference on Environmental, Cultural, Economic and Social Sustainability. This year, we are at the University of Granada in person and online. It is our first fully blended sustainability conference, and we're very excited. We'll have a lot of sessions both running at the University of Granada, but are fully accessible to our online only participants over the next few days, whether that's live via Zoom or pre-recorded and uploaded, or recorded from a live session that you might not be able to attend because of a time zone change. You'll be able to access all those sessions. We have an in-person tour as well as an online only tour, as well as this little welcome reception and a closing reception there in Granada. So we're looking forward to making this as a fantastic blended experience for everyone. I just have to say a few thank yous. Firstly, to our local host and also our Spanish Language Research Network Chair, Jose Gutierrez Perez, as well as our English Language Research Network Chair, David Humphreys. We have a fantastic organising committee there at the University of Granada, made up of over 15 people who have been working hard to make sure everything's going smoothly and that we've got great plenary speakers, and who have decided on our great special focus for this year. So I want to thank all of them. And I also want to thank all our Common Ground Research Networks team, everyone in the conferencing department, everyone who's been answering support queries and working towards this conference. And in addition, we have our emerging scholars who are both blended and online this year. You'll see them in Zoom sessions, you'll see them in the rooms chairing sessions, you'll also see them on the discussion boards asking questions. They'll be all over the place trying to make sure that this is a great experience for everyone. We do have a session right after this for our 2020 Journal Award winner, James Bassett. You will find that in the event schedule, but I'm going to go ahead and put the link here in the chat for you today. His session is entitled Biomimicry in Sustainable Food and Agriculture, and the link for that Zoom session is in the chat. One other thing I do want to mention is that in 2020, what are we now? 2022, it's hard to believe we're in 2022 already. Common Ground signed the United Nations Sustainable Development Publishing Goals Compact. Jeez. So launched in collaboration with the International Publishers Association, the compact features 10 action points that publishers, publishing associations and others can commit to undertaking in order to accelerate progress and to achieve sustainable development goals by 2030. This is just part of our ongoing effort in sustainability, and also linked to our special focus for this year, which is post-pandemic sustainability towards a green economic recovery for nature, people and planet. In the link that I've put, the first link for the online engagement session today, we've got a little sort of think and drink menu today. And included on that is a link to the special focus, so you can read more about that. And sort of an agenda and order of things. So what we're going to try and do is, firstly, I'm going to start off by introducing myself, and then I might call on you in your Zoom rectangles. They're not squares, they're rectangles. And what we might do is introduce each other, sort of break the ice a bit, introduce ourselves, break the ice a bit, say a little bit about yourself. If you're presenting at the conference, feel free to tell us about your presentation. Tell us what brings you to the Sustainability Research Network. What motivates your research? Were you particularly interested in the special focus this year, or was it another theme? So let's go ahead. I'll begin. My name is Tamsin Gilbert. I'm Research Network Producer at Common Ground Research Networks. The Sustainability Conference is one of the Research Network is one of my research networks. So I've been involved in this research network since, oh gosh, the years are passing. I think since probably 2005. So you might have seen me around. If you haven't, I'm looking forward to meeting you now in this session. To my left, maybe in your boxes, is one of my colleagues, Kinsey Duncan. She is a conference producer here at Common Ground Research Networks. And below me, I think, is Iram Aksoy, and she is the conference and communications assistant with Common Ground Research Networks. So I'm going to go ahead and call on different people. And you're doing that, I am going to find the link to your presentation page if you have one. We can put it in the chat and just share who we are and what we're doing. I'm going to call on you, Julia, first, but then I'm wondering if your sound is going to work. Yeah. You know what? Do you want to write it in the chat and I can go ahead? If you want to write something in the chat, I can go ahead and read that out. We know Julia had some, oh no, here she is. She's joining. Oh, wait a second. Julia? Oh, now we have two Julias. Should I unmute one of them? No. Julia, I'm gonna go on to the next person if that's okay, and you can give me a thumbs up when you figure it out. Debbie, did you want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Hi, yeah, can you hear me? Just thought I'd check before I started talking. Hi, I'm Debbie Cotton. I'm a professor of higher education, director of academic practice from Plymouth Marjon University, which is a very small university in the southwest of England. And it's somewhere I've worked for just over 2 years. So I started just before the pandemic and had about 6 months there before going online for most of the time, which has been a little bit strange. In terms of the On Sustainability Conference, it's one that I've kind of had dealings with over a few years, actually. I've been researching in sustainability for quite a long time. And it was the conference in Chile, in Santiago, which in fact was the last conference that I attended before this all, everything went a little bit crazy. So it's kind of exciting to be back. And I'm actually here in Granada. So I don't know if anyone else is, but if you are, it'd be really nice to see real people tomorrow at the conference. I'm doing what was originally scheduled to be a discussion session. I'm not quite sure what it's going to be, but it certainly is going to be quite interactive. So I'm talking about a model of student-led knowledge exchange and how we might use that to kind of get students more involved in things in the outside world. So rather than thinking about knowledge exchange as something that university researchers do the research and then they transfer it to people outside the institution, is saying, well, we've got all these students who can actually have a really important impact on the wider world. So that's kind of the underlying focus of the talk I'm giving. And I've tried to develop a model from a piece of research that we've been doing, funded in the UK by the Office for Students and Research England, and tried to develop this model. And this is very much the first showing, the first outing for this model. So it'll be interesting to see what anyone thinks of it. I've actually just uploaded it onto the conference discussion page. So if you're online or face-to-face, you can now see it. I did a little video and I did that months ago and said, well, I haven't done the model yet. I'm hoping it'll be ready in time for the conference. I now have done something, so you can have a look at it and you can tell me what you think. But it's really to try and encourage people to think about students as transferring and sharing that knowledge with the outside world, but also learning a lot from being part of that. So what we found was that there was almost the triad of knowledge, which was the student and a member of staff and someone from outside, from an outside organization, all learning things through being engaged in knowledge exchange. And I've also got a poster. I won't talk forever, I promise. But I don't know, I can't at the moment get the poster to upload. It may be on the same page, and I was just trying just now to put it on the same page as my other proposal, because then all my things are together and it sort of seemed to fit because they're both part of the same project. But that poster is about using transformative evaluation, which is one of the ways that we used in our work to develop this model. It's a research method that we used. It's really good. It was developed by a colleague of mine. I can't recommend it strongly enough. It's all about eliciting significant change stories from participants. It's very easy to use and it's quick. And we train students as researchers to do this and to do, the elicitation of the stories from other students, and it worked absolutely wonderfully. So you can use it in all sorts of contexts, with students, with practitioners, with people who are non-expert researchers. Basically, I think it's a really, really good technique. So I will stop talking now, but thanks, Tamsin, and congratulations on organising this, because I absolutely do not envy you trying to organise a conference at the current time. I've got one coming up in April, and it's already driving me slightly crazy, because you never know what's going to happen next and who's going to be able to make it and who's not. So well done.
Thanks, Debbie. And we're very happy to have you, because you're a good blended delegate there, attending both in person, but I'm so thankful that you've also uploaded your digital media, because it means that everyone can watch your session and you'll get great feedback there in the discussion board as well. So that's fantastic. I've put the link to Debbie's presentation page just in the chat there for anyone who might want to follow the presentation. You can do that there or add her as a peer. Raquel, you're my next I keep wanting to say square, but it's not.
Yeah. Hello, can you hear me? Okay, amazing. Well, thank you. My name is Raquel. I'm a PhD student at the Universidad de Sevilla here in Spain. I'm an industrial design engineer, and my research is focused on social sustainability, and I design products for smart products and assistive technology for children with ASD. That's what I've been focusing on. And for this conference, I uploaded my presentation, which is called Importance of Participatory Methods when Designing for Inclusivity. And it focuses on how COVID-19 has impacted the lives of these children and their families. Since now, even if we're not in the worst part of the pandemic, some things are going to stay, such as telework and these online conferences and education and everything, and all of these makes it a bit difficult for family conciliation in these houses, and how it is important to take different perspectives of different professionals into account to design products that help these children be more independent. So yeah, I uploaded my presentation there, and I hope you have time to see it. Thank you.
Thanks. Nice to meet you, Raquel. I put the link to your presentation page there. So I'll keep doing that for everyone. So I won't tell you after every person that introduces themselves. I'll just go ahead and do that. Natasha?
Yes, Natasha, thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm bound to get somebody's name. I have an unusual name myself. Forgive me. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. When I moved to the US, I changed the symbols. I didn't put symbol. I'm from Croatia originally, so people don't know how to call me actually. So I'm a postdoc at Stanford, and at this conference, I'm presenting a part of my PhD research related to uncertainty source analysis in life cycle assessment. I was in my PhD doing analysis of 3D printed building components versus conventionally manufactured. And I kind of, in one of the validation stages, contributed to uncertainty analysis in life cycle assessment, and wanted to present in this conference because I thought it would be related to overall presentations. But related to COVID, I'm doing research on how actually COVID impacted our building construction industry and the whole community, from design, construction, and doing business, return to workplace, etc. That's my current research project.
Fantastic. Nice to meet you. Kushbu, you're my next rectangle. I've met you before for sure.
Yes, hi Tamsin. I'm so happy to be back. I attended another conference with you, the Media and Communication one in October 21. So hi everybody, my name is Kushbu Sehrawat and I am from Delhi, India. So 2021 and also 2020 have been really crazy for all of us, but one thing that really made me happy was that I managed to publish in this book. It's an eco-sustainability and literature handbook. So it's one of the literature books from two of my professors in University of Delhi, and I was honored to be writing a chapter in it, and which is what I'm also presenting here. So I do not have a very solid background in, let's say, eco-sustainability or something, but I'm a literature graduate, and more than that, I really love experimenting in the multidisciplinary field of humanities and social sciences. And hence, I completed my master's in a course called MA in Society and Culture from IIT Gandhinagar. And I'm presently working at IIT Gandhinagar as a project fellow. And it's always been about stories for me. And I currently also I'm working on this project. We call it IIT Gandhinagar Experience Project, wherein we're collecting stories of people who have been associated with the institute from very older days. And the eco-sustainability happened to be there because I was really interested in seeing how local farmers make an impact to the ecological uh, the requirements. And there's a eco biography which is by Kyan Short. I did study a chapter of it, and which is what I published in this book, and I'm really happy to be here. And also I'm one of the emerging scholars, so I'm really thankful to Tamsin and Irem for that. They've been really great support in the overall process of it, and also the conference. And I'm really looking forward to learn from you all, and also excited for you all to read on life writing and how autobiographical studies can factor into the ecological realities and footprints. So I hope to see you all in your work.
Thank you, Khushbu. And we already have one. I won't click the bottom of the button at the bottom of your presenter page, but we have one request in the chat already for you to upload your digital material because we want to see it.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
I have uploaded it.
Okay. Was it recently?
Yes, it was recently.
Okay, we probably just need to go and verify it so that it's available there. So we'll go and do that right after this session.
I'll follow up. Okay, thank you.
No worries. We'll go and check it right now. We have a verification process where we just go in and everything's checked to make sure it's okay before it's uploaded to the website. So it sometimes takes a few minutes or so for us to do that. So we'll do that right after this session. Kevin, did you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, can you hear me? Hello, thank you. I'm Kevin John Madela from the Philippines. I'm currently a PhD student in De La Salle University in Manila, and my work basically is something to do with social sustainability and participatory process. So I have a seminar paper that I submitted way back 2020, and because it's election season here in the Philippines, my paper talks with the populism gap that is happening here in the Philippines, or basically the populist overtones, where there's a disconnection between the national and local legislations. So through a form of ICT initiative, we want to bridge together these gaps where these populist overtones can be accommodated and can be part of the national or legislative agenda of national positions, or for political aspirants running for office in national positions. So basically, my research would dwell or talk about how, regardless of the digital divide here in the Philippines, would somehow the ICT resources would bridge these gaps and somehow accommodate this populist overtones that's currently emerging here in the Philippines today, most especially now that we are approaching election season, and we're trying to provide an approach on hearing the concerns on the ground more than the national concerns of the country. So I think that's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kevin. Nice to meet you, and looking forward to looking at your video there throughout the next days over the conference. Nick, did you want to unmute yourself and say hello?
Sure. Can everyone hear me okay? Awesome. Well, nice to meet you all. My name is Nick Brown. I'm Chief Operating Officer for Communication and Outreach at the Prince George's County Memorial Library System in Maryland in the US, just outside of Washington, DC. I also teach library and information science at Catholic University in DC. And I'll be sharing a case study of our library system's work during COVID as an example of public libraries in the US as social infrastructure, looking at Eric Kleinenberg's model and assessment of how public institutions and community spaces provide the kind of social tissue that brings our communities together and can actually quite directly impact crime rates and other many systemic issues that we have in the US. However, while we've been forced to innovate in very rapid ways, it is directly hurting our sustainability. Our funding is not sustainable. We're being asked to do the jobs of social services agencies, public health departments, et cetera, to the point of handing out COVID test kits and doing vaccine clinics and such, and our staff are being stretched beyond the limit and such. So we have a big sustainability issue, and our funding model is very precarious. And basically they add 50% of new services every year to us from the kind of local authority level, yet our budgets cannot even keep up with our collective bargaining agreement mandated compensation issues. So I really am excited about the multidisciplinary nature of this conference, and already in hearing all the topics that have been mentioned, libraries are kind of a hidden factor in all of these things. From in the US, we're right now in the mix with the infrastructure funding from the federal government with expanding the electric vehicle network across the country, and our library is already installing those EV chargers and such, which I know there's other places in the world that are way ahead of us than we are in the US. But looking forward to learning from all of you and hearing your feedback on our work and how we can kind of get more creative with our sustainability model with funding.
Thanks, Nick. And am I correct in reading that you're also a blended delegate like Debbie, that you're there in Granada?
Yep.
Great.
Yeah, I'm in Barcelona at the moment.
Okay.
I can't get a flight over today, but I'll be there early tomorrow.
Okay, well, I won't see you there, but I'm sure you're going to have a great time. We're looking forward to it. Julia, were you able to figure out your sound, or it's still not working?
I can try one more time.
Oh,
I'm not
we
sure
can hear you.
Hallelujah.
Hooray, what a success. All right, I'm going to let you introduce yourself.
I'm connecting from the mobile phone. I don't know what's going on. Today, Skype wasn't working, and I think that affects the audio on Zoom, because that affects the camera usually. So sorry for this setback. Thank you so much for helping me out these last couple of days, in especially you, Tamsi, and Irem. Your support was outstanding. I have to imagine that these last few days must have been crazy. I remember when I was organizing events for the United Nations. So I'm connecting from Vienna, Austria. I'm a researcher at eThink, that is a spin-off of the Technical University. And at this conference, I'm going to present it in a synchronous way. So I uploaded a number of videos that we have produced in the framework of the project EnerMaps. The fact is that reliable data is fundamental for analysis. And when it comes to energy data, finding reliable and quality checked data that is open access is very time consuming. So what we have done with this European project is that we have developed a user-friendly platform on 2 layers. One is a gateway, which is a single entry point to research public open access publications, research results, data set, all on energy. And the issue there is that when people research keywords connected to energy, there are many other topics that come along: chemistry, physics, nutrition, engineering, you name it. Many of the results are gray noise that may complicate even more the research of relevant publications. So what we did was working together with OpenAir, that is a previous European project, a portal for open access publications, and with them fine-tune the keywords and the topics so that a user that is focused on energy can get to the gateway and find a reasonable amount of publications, rather than the deluge of publications that would come out with the same keywords. And the other layer is a visualization tool, and open access data modeling tool that is developed on a previous project, that Hot Maps, and it is very cool. Basically, you see a map with geolocalized data and a number of calculation modules to enrich modeling done on the Hot Maps platform, such as estimating the heat demand. Let's say that the focus of our research center is on energy efficiency in buildings and heating and cooling management. And talking about sustainability and low carbon transition, the building sector is a sector that is fundamental because it accounts for half our energy demand. And the efficiency improvements in this sector is struggling to keep up with the pace of the general efficiency improvement in the society, even in Europe that is setting such ambitious targets. So we need to do more concerning heat demand and energy efficiency in buildings. And thank you for posting the link. If you want to have a look there, there are already the media uploaded there.
Thanks, Julia. Sophia, should we test out your sound? We had some issues with that before too.
Can you hear me?
Yes, that's working.
Oh my goodness.
Sophia,
Okay, yes,
fantastic.
I had to try a few things. My AirPods just didn't connect before for some reason, but yes, here I am. Thank you so much for having me. I am so excited. I've attended this conference a few years back in Vancouver, where I was living for quite some time, and I was really inspired. So I really was looking forward to presenting some of my own work. I just graduated from a master's degree in the design school Kolding in Denmark, where I'm sitting right now. I work with sustainability around garment production lines, clothing, textiles, and my background is in fashion design and technology. So my master's work, which is what I'll be presenting, is closed loop system within the fashion industry, and also the inclusion of ancient crafts. I'm Argentinian originally, and there are Aboriginal peoples on the north that practice a lot of weaving. So I've included that as a medium vehicle for upcycling fabric waste. And I focus specifically in factories' byproduct, taking what's waste for them and assigning it a new value in this big textile pieces that I made with homemade looms. So yes, and right now I am actually working with young teenagers and teaching them on why overconsumption is not the way to go for fashion, and teaching them how to upcycle their old clothes with homemade looms and all kinds of fun stuff. But my research was really focused on creating the systems that could be implemented in real brands that are in the industry right now. So I've worked with designer Henrik Biskov, pretty big Danish, pretty well-known Danish designer. And they've used my closed loop systems to upcycle the waste of their last 2 seasons. But yes, I'm really excited to show you guys what it all looks like. It's a lot of color and it looks like a big party. So I'm excited to be part of this.
Thank you, Sophia.
Thank you.
Robin, did you want to unmute yourself and introduce yourself if possible?
Yes, sure. Thank you very much. Wow, there's some very exciting topics. And thank you for sharing. Excuse me. My name is Robin Reed, and I'm an associate professor at Thompson Rivers University in Kamloops, British Columbia. And so for those of you who are not maybe familiar with British Columbia, where I'm in the interior, I'm not on the coast. And I'm maybe 4 hours away from Vancouver. So maybe that gives you a bit of a reference point there. I've been at the university for about 23 years. And when I started, I was really concerned, and I'd done a little bit of research work on sustainability and the issue of sustainability, and also now looking at the fact that we live on a finite climate. I'm looking at the framework for sustainability, and even though it's been around for a very long time, I look at the landscape in British Columbia, and I'm concerned that the political dimension of sustainability is not one that is often recognized as being one of the important dimensions. We often look at the ecological, the social, and the economic dimensions. And we forget about the political dimension. And so here in British Columbia, you know, I'm looking at the landscape from a tourism lens because I work in the tourism management department. And, you know, through the pandemic, we've had a chance to kind of slow down and take a look at our own environments. And so post, you know, pandemic, what will travel look like? And the presentation that I'm working on still, so you can't see it, we can't put it in the link, is just taking a look at some of the challenges for tourism operators in British Columbia. We have a supernatural British Columbia logo that has, you know, done well globally as a brand, but we really need to look at what's happening on the landscape level if we're serious about sustainability. And that's where the political decisions that are being made on the landscape will not only affect tourism, they affect other industries as well and local communities. And so, for example, forestry practices in British Columbia, we have a lot of old growth trees, and maybe you've followed some of the protests that have been going on currently with regard to protecting some of those old growth forests. And there is they call tall tree tourism, where, you know, tourism as an act of conservation can help in terms of how we're preserving the biodiversity of the landscape. And so I've been looking at some examples in British Columbia where the tour operators are being quite socially and environmentally active in drawing attention to things such as the salmon population, and so conservation efforts working with tourism on the landscape so that we can protect some of those landscapes, particularly old growth forests, for future generations. So hopefully that wasn't too long, but it's about, you know, wilderness spaces and local interests and engagement in the landscape in British Columbia.
Thank you, Robin. And I put the link to Robin's presentation page there in the chat. I did want to also point out a couple of things. Oh, well, first of all, you know, it's fantastic to hear all about your presentations and about what you're doing. And I think it's great that it's a truly sort of interdisciplinary conference, and we're coming at this from so many different angles, and really we can feed off each other's ideas here, watch each other's presentations there in the presentations tab, and really look at different fields within the sustainability research. You know, we have libraries, we have fashion, we have, you know, we have so many different fields covered here that I think that we can definitely learn in spaces and presentations that we might not necessarily go to, you know, in a more specific type of situation. So I'm really looking forward to seeing those. I was just going to also mention that we do have 120 people registered for the conference. Around 40 of those are blended delegates who will be in Grenada, and we have over 110 pieces of digital media uploaded already. So nearly, it seems like from those numbers that nearly everyone has uploaded their material to the conference. We also do have Spanish language sessions. One thing I forgot to mention earlier, that if you're on the event schedule page and you're interested in the Spanish language sessions, you can just, there is a sort of a small tab on the side that says English language, just flick that over and then you'll be able to go to those Spanish language sessions as well. We do have, I think, 90 people registered for the Spanish language sessions on top of that. And about 30 of those people are presenting in Grenada as well. I want to thank you all for your time today. It was a pleasure to meet you all and a pleasure to get to know you. And I'm looking forward to seeing you all in, you know, well, Nick and Debbie, we might see you sort of in the plenary session there on our Zoom screens as we watch you going in there tomorrow. But we're looking forward to seeing you in all of those live sessions. But if I haven't emphasized it enough, we do have a lot of great online only sessions that are there as well, including our Journal Award winner, James, who is going to present right after this. Is there a Twitter hashtag? You know, there is. Give me a second. Of course, I should have had it up on my screen, and I'm going to get it wrong. You know, all these numbers and things, and I'll tell you before I let you go to to the next session. If anyone, Kinsey or Iram, if you have it handy, my screen's not loading right now. We do use LinkedIn. So I will get the LinkedIn link for you. I will also get the sustainability link sustainability link, the Twitter link. So LinkedIn, we have a general common ground page. So I'll put the link for that in there. Oh, thanks, Debbie. Yes, if you have a Twitter handle, please feel free to put it in the chat there, and we can certainly share these with each other throughout the conference. So let's go ahead and get you those links. Sorry, I should have had them ready to go. Give me 1 second. So here is the Common Ground Research LinkedIn page. And then here is the Twitter hashtags right after that. Thanks for these great questions and keeping me, making sure I'm organized to the next session to have those things handy. So I appreciate it. All right, everyone. What we're going to do now is, the most important part of the think and drink. That's what we're going to do now. The drink. We need to do a cheers, right? So we've done our thinking. We've introduced each other. If you don't have a cup, it can be water. It can be, I don't know, it could be something a little stronger depending on where you are in the world. I don't know how, what, it could be tea if it's morning, if you're in, I don't know, wherever you are that's morning now. But I think with that, I would like to welcome you all to the conference. Looking forward to a fantastic couple of days. If you need anything, feel free to reach out and you have any questions. But cheers. Looking forward to a great conference. Next time,